Hello and welcome to Steve Harmison's Super Over. Harmy, first things first, was that the greatest final in a T20 World Cup we've ever seen? Was that the greatest final in any white ball or red ball when it was limited overs final we've ever seen? Because I can't remember a final that comes close to the drama that we've just witnessed.
Yeah, I mean, 2019 at Lords will take some beating as a sort of drama final.
That was brilliant right at the end, but it was terrible for like 90 overs.
Yeah, but what I'd say about this, I think there's been some of the best moments in finals. Yeah. Jasper Bumrah's, spell. You go back to the whole lot. Virat Kohli's innings when he was in trouble, when his team was in trouble at 30 odd for three.
Yeah,
and to hold it together towards the end.
Quinton de Kock's run out.
Quinton de Kock's run out
of Axar
Klassen comes in and hits 4 or 5 sixes.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, this year, as the old cliche is catches win matches, well, catches have just won a World Cup because that's breathtaking. You know, and you know what? I thought when Suryakumar came out to bat, he looked as though he was playing in a final and he looked as though he was frantic. He could have been out first ball, should have been out third ball, and was out fourth ball. To come off and pull off that catch under that pressure right at the end of the game, I'm sorry, it will be one of the greatest catches ever. Under the circumstances, it probably is the greatest catch ever because of the final. Miller gets, if that goes for 6, the ball that Hardik ball to Rabada, the next ball, a big wide, more or less a half volley, which he nicked for 4, and a back Davy Miller to hit that for 6. He's not bowling the same ball, but if he had gone for the wide Yorker, didn't quite nail it, Miller would have hit that for 6. We could have been talking about a completely different scenario. But did South Africa choke? That's what everybody will be saying. South Africa have choked again.
Well, I was going to ask you, did India win that or did South Africa lose it?
No, I don't. I think India won that. I don't know what you think because you've covered cricket, nearly as much as Neil Manthorp. And for me, I thought India won that. I thought Hardik's wicket of Klassen when they needed 30 off 30, something special had to happen, and that over of Bumrah, I think that changed the momentum of the game. Actually, what did change the momentum of the game was Rishabh Pant got injured. Rishabh Pant got injured. It was a tactical injury.
That break in play.
It was massive, wasn't it?
Klassen went first ball after that, didn't he?
I'll ask you a question. Do you think India won that? And do you think, because there'll be a lot of people who mention South Africa choked it, but you've watched.
I think if Jasprit Bumrah isn't in that side, then India don't win that game. Yeah. I think that the wicket of Klassen came at a perfect time. After that break, they needed 30 runs from 30 balls. They had 6 wickets in hand, 2 set batters at the crease. Axar Patel had just gone for 24. There'd been 14 from the last over. And, I just thought that one little bit of luck wasn't a brilliant delivery. It could have, on another day he's not out. He either misses or he gets a thicker edge and it goes for 4 or whatever. Or he middles it, right? And India, like all great teams, they were given a sniff and they got it. And they played on every single element of doubt in the South African mindset. And I thought what was telling was the way that Jansen came out. He came out, and Maharaj as well. They both came out and you could just tell the pressure was on them so much. And India absolutely capitalized. And then the fortune went India's way as well. Because as you say, that Miller was at the wrong end for a lot of it.
For a lot of it.
And then when he was at the right end, you're talking. Ian Smith was on commentary, and if he'd rocked out the Beres the margins line with that Surya Kumar, catch, you wouldn't have blamed him because that was the World Cup. That moment right there, and those little moments just went. And even the final over, Hardik Pandya, as you say, that was not a good over. On another day, Rabada deposits that penultimate ball for a 6 or a 4. And of course, Miller hits first ball for 6. It was a full toss, a wide full toss. He missed his Yorker. The moments went India's way. but they put themselves in the position where the moments went their way. And that came down to the absolute genius, godlike brilliance of Jasprit Bumrah and that catch.
It did. And that the Jasprit Bumrah, I think the momentum shift, Klassen gets out. And you're right. I think I looked at it and I sent you a message just before the end there. And I was like, I don't fancy looking at Hartig, stand there, 6 balls to go. It's a good job he didn't need 12 because of the Euros are on at the minute. He looked like somebody who didn't want to take a penalty in a shootout. He really did look like somebody. I am not taking this penalty. I'm gonna put the ball down, keep my head down, and smash it, and hopefully the keeper dives the other way. That's what his face looked like. But so did Maharaj's face, and so did Jansen's face when they walked out to bat facing Jasprit Bumrah. The wicket, the ball he got Risa Hendricks with was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And the one that he got Jansen with. Kids out there, listen to this. The way he held the seam, got the new ball to just nip away from a good length and turn around somebody who Risa Hendricks has batted really well. He's batted quite well in this tournament. To hit the top of off stump like that was just that was a brilliant skill. But then to get the one, it probably pitched exactly the same spot than Risa Hendricks' delivery. And this one hit the outside of leg stump, just going on with the angle, not looking to get the ball to go away, not looking to give him any room to swing his arms, and getting the ball to go back through the gate. That's a fast bowler. We are talking about greatness here. I'm not sure many fast bowlers around the world could have bowled that over. Give him another year in cricket, Jofra Archer, Kigisa Rabada. Could have come close. And I mean could have come close. I'm saying could have come close to what Jasprit Bumrah could have done there. But, to get 2 off that over, 22 off 18 balls was manageable. But the wicket of Jansen, all of a sudden 20 off 12 was massive. 2 runs off that 18th over and the momentum shift, and that was it. It was more or less game over.
And what about Virat Kohli's innings? Because, if India had lost today, there would have been some people saying, oh, we went too slowly, at the end. Well, not the end of the innings, but in the middle of the innings. It's funny, isn't it? The narrative is just, that's gone now. No one's ever going to even mention his innings. He might well be player of the match.
Yeah.
He top scored.
I've been critical.
You said it. You have been critical, but you also said, when it comes to the greats, they choose their moments, right? He's been great in the final, and he'll walk off the champion. He may never play for India again in his final T20 matches is basically be, top scorer. It's Virat Kohli. No one doubted him, right?
Yeah, no, but there was never any question I was going to doubt him. Greatness is greatness. I mentioned the other night when talk about Anderson's going to finish at Lords. These great players find a way to finish their careers, even if they've been struggling, to go out on the utmost high. And, for me, I've been critical of Virat Kohli in times, batting for landmarks, batting for 50, batting for hundreds, looking after himself a little bit. But I didn't think he did that in there. We've got to remember, it's a final. He is basically saying, right, I remember a lot of people have asked me leading into this game, what do you think? And I've said all along that if South Africa win the toss bat first, they could, with power, no pressure, could get 200, 220, because it'll be a good Barbados wicket. But I don't think they'll chase 180 if India bat first because of pressure, runs on the board, World Cup final. And a man in the middle at 30 for 3 has basically said, I'm going to get my team to 150 at least, and then with the last 3 or 4 overs, can we get to a position of strength over the line? And for me, he didn't. Even if I had lost that game, anybody criticism of Virat Kohli, I think, would have been wrong, because I thought he did what his team needed him to get a score, to basically say, right, over to you, South Africa. Scoreboard pressure. Can you get 177 to win the World Cup? If you do, hats off, well played. We were 30 for 3. And that, for me, is a true champion. And that's why he's player of the match. That's why, for me, he is the modern day great. Talk about the Fab Four, Williamson, Smith, Kohli, Root. I think as a player throughout this generation, I think the greatest of that and of probably the modern generation has been Virat Kohli. So if he is finished in white ball T20 cricket for India, I mean, what a way to go out. I thought he was brilliant today.
And a word for Rohit Sharma as well, because
he could be done as well.
Well, he could be, and he captained brilliantly. He captained absolutely brilliant for that last 5 overs. Again, he made some big calls. He had to make big calls every single delivery, essentially, didn't he? But essentially, he didn't do it with the bat today, but he's led from the front in the power play and with the bat today. His captaincy really, when all of India probably was starting to doubt, and he knew it was in the balance, and somehow you need that cool head, don't you? And he was a cool head, and he'll walk off, and Rahul Dravid as well. It's his final game as India coach as well. So it's changing of the guard. And the same can be said for South Africa, because Quinton de Kock, I think that's him done. There's a couple of aging players in that team, and they're just, unfortunately, Bridgetown 2024 is going to stand alongside Edgbaston in 1999, and the mix up in the rain against Sri Lanka, and it's just going to be one of those again for South Africa, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Unfortunately, it'll be interesting to hear what Mana's take it is on following on this week, and whether
he's been very silent on our WhatsApp group, isn't he? We haven't heard from him at all.
No, we haven't heard anything from him. Is it going to be? Is that surpassed Edgbaston? Well, I think the rain one. I think that was obviously I don't that in the context of it. But does that go and surpass Edgbaston? 30 off 30, 6 wickets to go. Miller and Klassen, 2 unbelievable finishes in, and you don't get over the line. Is that the biggest one that South Africa have done? Rohit Sharma's captaincy, he gets a lot of criticism for letting the game drift. He gets a lot of criticism for not being proactive in the game. And I must admit, I was sort of shouting at the telly and going after the 14th over. It was just as Axel was coming on, I was like, why is Bumrah not bowling this over? Bumrah's got to bowl this over. If Bumrah goes for 2 or 3 in this over, then all of a sudden South Africa need probably 55 or 5, and that is a long way to go. And then he goes and bowls Axel. He goes for 20-odd, 30 off 30, and you're going, oh, you've just lost the game by not bowling your 1 over. That was, up your sleeve with your trump card, but he held his nerve. He knew when to bowl it, and he obviously had Hartik, who had got the wicket of Klassen, but I don't think he was really keen on him bowling the 20th over. So to get him in a position to have 16th off the 20th over, I thought Rohit Sharma's he was excellent throughout this game. His batting's been excellent throughout the tournament on some pretty poor pitches, because let's be fair, this tournament, we've had 55 games. The best 2 teams have got to the final, which is what you want. I think there's no question that the best 2 teams have got to the final. I think the best teams won it. And there's been a lot of favouritism banded about, talked about with India.
I think it would have been
I think
really
the best
harsh.
teams won it.
Yeah, I think it would have been really harsh if India had been unbeaten at the 50-over World Cup and then lost the final, and then unbeaten in the T20 World Cup and lost in the final. So yeah, I agree. They are the best side.
I think they've won it, and there's been a lot of talk about the semi-final and favouritism, and it's all about India and the BCCI and everything like that.
They don't need that, do they?
They don't need it. They don't need it. I mean, India could have won. India could have gone to the moon and played this tournament and still won, because they were the best team. They had the best players. They played the big decision. They had big situations. The best. They held the nerve at the end. So as much as a lot of people outside India want to bash India because of where their sort of status is in the world game, and there's a bit of jealousy about it. For me, the best team won this tournament. The best 2 teams got to the final. I think it's been a pretty average tournament from a spectacle point of view, but what a final we've had. And credit to Rohit Sharma and his men, because they've had the best batter, they've had the best bowler, and I think at a big pressurised situation, probably the best bit of fielding has won them the tournament. So I don't think you can argue with Rohit Sharma lifting it.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.